Good morning, students. My name is Abraham Sholongela, and I am your tutor for Agricultural Education 1. Just to welcome you, I would like to say welcome to Agricultural Education 1. I wish you all to be hardworking, dedicated, and self-driven students in this course. This presentation will give you some general guidelines that I want everyone to keep in mind when preparing for the 2018 assignments. In these modules, I will discuss some of the contents of your study guide in order to help you prepare for the coming assignments and exams. I would like you to have a good idea what the subject is about as you're preparing for your assignments. Please note that I cannot give attention to the whole contents, so should you have any questions, please contact me for help. I will provide my contact information at the end of this module so that you can contact me in case you need any other help. Use the study guide to prepare for assignments and examination. The first thing that I want us to look at today, I want us to look at the verb thinking process, because most of the time you find students, you are struggling with understanding some of the key verbs in the questions. So the verb is the key to a good grade. So you need to understand the key verb in the questions so that you'll be able to obtain the mark that you desire. So you need to comply with the specific action that is required to obtain your marks. In other words, you must do what is asked. You need to look at the question very well. Look at that key verb that is being asked in the questions, so that you are not out of the questions, you are not out of the so that you cannot answer outside the box. So you must stick to what is being asked. So the common verbs now that are used in the assignments and examinations are as follows. So I want us to look at the verbs. For example, analyze. When you are analyze, here you need to examine information. You need to examine information in details. You need to discover the main ideas or the components, patterns, or relationships. You need to show why they are important and how components are related and what theories they reflect. And then also, another verb that is very common also that we find is the verb define. When you are asked to define something, you need to give a precise or a brief meaning of that what you are being asked. So you need to be straightforward. It's just a brief definition that you give. For example, if you are asked to define, for example, define soil erosion, then you just need to give a straightforward and a precise definitions of that. Don't give history of information. So then another term is demonstrate. To demonstrate is just to perform the necessary operations, showing by examples. For example, the question might ask you, demonstrate on how to plant or sow seeds. So you need to demonstrate, you are explained, but you demonstrate step by step, showing an examples, indicating on how that process or how that is being performed. So that's how you demonstrate on how things is done. So then another one is describe. Now, when you are describing, you provide detailed features of an issue that you are being asked to describe, or a stage of a process in a logical sequences or patterns. Using numbers, you can use numbers, or you can use headings, or you can use proper sentences. So it's like brief discussion. You are describing something in a logical manner, in a sequence manner. So it is not necessary to discuss the subject by referring to arguments for or against. You don't need to argue here. You don't need to make an argument in this case. You just need to briefly describe in a logical sequence. You can either use numbers, or you can use headings, or you can use proper sentence where aligned. And then another term is discuss. Here you need to give a clear descriptions, and then you argue about futures by pointing out positive and negative futures, then also arriving at your conclusions. And then another verb is explain. When you are asked to explain something, you have to describe it, and then you have to indicate relationship between things, making clear of the why reason, so giving the reason why and how, not giving example of maybe how it's being done, how it's been happening. So you are giving a detailed explanations of that subject or that issues. Now explaining, giving more clear reasons how and why of that particular subject. So you need to understand this. It's very, very important for you to understand this verb, so that once you have the verbs, once you have the clear meanings of the verbs, then that will help you to understand or to have a clear understanding of the question, or even how to answer. Look at the marks that is given to the question. Then you can answer according to how you are being asked. We are continuing again with the verbs thinking process. So another one is identify. Identify, that means you need to recognize, or maybe you list the futures of what you are being asked to identify. For example, the question might ask you maybe identify the common plant disease you will encounter in a garden. So you must just be specific, and then you recognize those diseases, or you list those specific common diseases that one might encounter in a garden. And then another one is outline. When you are being asked to outline, you need to give an overview of and indicate the main features of something in a concise or in brief in a systematic manner. That means in a logical manner or in a well-organized manner. You outline what you are being asked, in a sequence, in an orderly or logical manner. Now the other one also, you need to compare. So when you are comparing, you need to indicate the similarities and the difference of phenomena regarding particular criteria. So you need now to give the similarities or the differences between those things that you are being asked to compare. Then you must then draw a conclusion about similarities and differences, emphasizing the similarities. Very often, a table is used to compare the phenomena. That means you can also use a table so that you will be able to compare the thing, or to compare or to differentiate between the phenomena that you are being asked to compare. Then a description of one phenomena after the other, so it's not a comparison. So you don't need to describe, but you just need to give what is the similarities and what are the difference between the issues that you are being asked to compare or to differentiate. Now, the other one is illustrate. To illustrate, you are describing by giving examples or making drawings on how things is done, on how the process is being done. So that's how you illustrate, giving examples on how, or even making some drawings, clear examples on how the process is being carried out. And then another one, you have the psychomotor verbs. Now this one you can use it when you are drawing a mind map, or when you are writing a job application letter, or when you are designing an overhead transparency, collect materials to do an experiment, then interview someone in an occupation of your choice, or demonstrate how to do, or a role play, etc. So this one now is what we call a psychomotor verb, because you need to do extra work. You need to go an extra mile in order to carry out this activity. So as I said earlier already, these verbs, they are in your study guides. I want you to go to your study guides, or use even other source of information from, for example, maybe Oxford Dictionary, so that you'll be able to understand the meanings of this verb thinking process. So they are in your study guide. Study each one of them, so you make sure that you understand what do they mean. So this will help you to, at least for you to have a simple understanding of what these verbs means, because these are the verbs that are mostly used in your assignments or in your examination. So it is therefore very necessary and important to have a good understanding of these verbs, so that it will help you to answer or to tackle your questions accordingly. Now, I just want us to give an example also, because I know sometimes it's a challenge. I have come across that a lot of students have been struggling to answer some multiple choice questions in the assignments. So I want us to look at an examples of some of the questions that were previously asked in your assignments. For example, this question asked, the rags that have been used to clean oil from agricultural equipment should be stored in a tightly sealed metal container and disposed of at the end of the day, because oil rags, rags are just pieces of cloth that are being used to clean off the oil from agricultural equipments. The one you use, that cloth that you use to wipe off the oils or the grease from the agricultural equipments. Now the question asks you that rags that have been used to clean oil from agricultural equipment should be stored in a tightly sealed metal container and disposed of at the end of the day, because oil rags, then you need to explain your choice. Remember, by explaining your choice in this question is 10 marks. And then you also have to explain why the other answers are wrong. That is also another 10 marks. That means in total, these questions have 20 marks. And you are given you have 4 choices to give from letter A to D. For example, the first one option is A. A means are attractive to rodents and may lead to problems with infestations, or because may spontaneously combust and start a fire, or because may be an environmental hazard if they contact soil or water, or because they are caustic and contact with them may be damage skin. Now, you need now to choose or to make your choice or your best choice in these questions. And then you need to explain your choice, which is going to be now 10 marks. Now you find some of you students, maybe you just say B is the correct answer, and then you choose B, and then you just end there. But in this question or in this scenario, you also, after now making your right choice and giving your reasons, you also need to give reason why do you think, if you choose A for example, then also give us the reason why do you think A is wrong or is not the correct answer. Why do you think B is not the correct answer? Give us the reason why do you think so, and also give us the reason why do you think D is not the correct answer, for you to be able to obtain full marks. You don't just make your choice and then explain, then you stop there. You also have to tell us why do you think the other answers are not correct. You give your reason, then you can attain your full marks on this question. Now, in some cases, you may only be asked to explain your choice and not necessarily to explain why other answers are wrong. So I also want us to look at or to understand some of the concepts of soil profile in these modules, because a lot of time I receive calls, students want to understand what is the difference between the soil profile and the soil horizon. Is there any difference? So just to look at this concept so that we can understand what soil profile is. The soil profile is one of the most important concepts in soil science. So you cannot speak of agriculture without understanding also the soil science. So therefore, soil science is a key to understand the process that have taken in soil development, and it is the means of determining the types of soil that occur and is the basis for their classifications. Now, the soil profile is defined as a vertical section of the soil that is exposed by a soil pit. When you dig a pit on the soil, so you know that there are those vertical sections that are being exposed. So those are the soil profile. Now, I will say a soil pit is a hole that is dug from the surface of the soil to the underlying bed rock. A soil horizon is a layer generally parallel to the soil crust. You know, the soil crust is the top layer or the layer of the soil. Now, whose physical characteristics differ from the layers above and beneath. Each soil type usually has 3 or 4 horizons. The vertical sections exposing a set of horizons from the ground surface to the parent rock is termed as soil profile. A soil horizon makes up a distinct layer of soil. The horizon runs roughly parallel to the soil surface and has different properties and characteristics than the adjacent layer above and below. Now, the soil profile is a vertical section of the soil that depicts all of its horizon. This is what makes up the soil profile now. Now, a normal soil profile consists of 3 layers, which is now the topsoil, you know, the depth normally loud or tilled. Or we also have what we call the subsoil, a well-defined layer under the topsoil. Then you have the soil bedrock or lower subsoil, particularly referred to as withered or original parent material. So in soil science, these layers are called A, B, and C horizons. These 3 layers. So A, B, and C horizons, they can also be referred, or just the same as we say the topsoil or the subsoil or the soil bedrock or the parent materials. So together these horizons form the soil outline, and this is what is called the soil profile. Simple as such. So if you look at this diagram, for example, it's just to show you or to make you understand the concept of soil profile. As you can see, you have the topsoil, and that one you can also refer that topsoil as the A horizons, and then you have the subsoil there, and then you can also have the parent rocks. So if you go to the study guide, you study more details of the major role, that this soil profile or horizons can play in terms of our plants or the plant survivors. So go to your study guides and study more about these soil profiles so that you have a good understanding. Now, there's one of the most important subjects that I want us to look at when it comes to assignments. When you are writing your assignments, I want us to look at what we plagiarisms. Plagiarisms, on this subject, I want you to take note that assignments are individuals and not group activities, unless it is being indicated that these assignments are supposed to be group activities. But in most cases, the assignment that you are given, it's an individual task. Therefore now, copying text from other students or from other sources, for instance, maybe the study guide or prescribed material or directly from the internet, this is not allowed. So copying and paste is not allowed in your assignments. You are not neither allowed to copy from somebody's work. You need to do your own assignments. So you should reformulate existing text and use your own words to explain what you have read. So you need to use your own idea. You need to use your own understanding, your own knowledge of what you have read or what you have understood. So that's what you want you to do. So avoid copying from other sources or avoid copying from other people or fellow students. So it is not accepted to retype existing text and just acknowledge the source in a footnote or in the bibliography. You should be able to relate the idea or concept without repeating the original author to the letter. The aim of the assignment is not the reproductions of existing material, but to ascertain whether you have the ability to integrate the existing text and your own interpretation or critique to the text and offer a creative solution to existing problems. So you don't need to here, you need to read and understand so that you will be able to apply what you have studied or what you have learned. So therefore, because a lot of time you find some students, they do well because sometimes they lend their assignments to somebody else to do their assignments. You know, some students score higher marks during the assignments, and then at the end of the day, when it's come to the examination, you find that same students will obtain very, very low mark, or even will end up failing the subjects because they do not do their own works. So I advise you and I urge you to stick and to do your own work, because this will help you to understand your assignments or your subject very well. Of course, yes, you can discuss the assignments with your fellow students, but that does not mean you should copy and paste from one another. So you need to be warned that students who submit copy text, they will obtain a mark of 0 for the assignments, and a disciplinary steps may be taken by Iol. So it is also unacceptable to do someone else's work, to lend your work to them, or to make your work available to them to copy. Be careful and do not make your work available to anyone else. Make sure that you protect your own work, you do your own works, and you understand what you have done. And also, when it's come to your assignments, make sure that your assignments, they are, in most cases, you need to type your assignments, and you need to write as neat as required. And also the other thing, remember that in your assignments, you need to obtain at least 50% and above. Do not allow yourself to get low mark in your assignments, because the assignments, you know, the marks that you get from assignment will be used as your CA mark. So work hard as possible so that you can obtain higher mark in your assignments. Put more effort, make use of other sources of information, you know, go extra miles and read further so that you get other clear information that will help you to understand your assignment more and also obtain higher mark. Because sometimes, you know, if you get low mark, it will be difficult for you to obtain higher mark maybe in the exam, or you might be struggling, or you might find it difficult to obtain higher marks in the exam so that you can get a good final mark. But I'm urging you, stick to your assignments, read your assignments, and also make sure that you do your assignments also on time, and stick to the due date. Don't do your assignment at the last minute or when the due dates are almost closer. That's when you are running around and you are confused and you don't know what to do. Do your assignment at the right time. The first day you will receive your assignment in your hands, so start to work on it so that you finish your assignment on time and you know what you are doing. So as I said, we have come to the end of our contact classes for today, and if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. My contact information is there on the screen. As I said, my name is Abraham Cholongela, and I am your tutor. And if you have got any other information, or you want clarity on this assignment, or on how to answer questions, or you need an assistance in your assignments, you want to understand your assignments, please feel free to contact me. My mobile number there is 081-4438-360, or you can email me at acholongela@unam.na. So I wish you all the best in your assignments, in 2018 assignments, and also in your exams. And please remember, work hard, study hard, and understand your assignments. I wish you all the best.